Hey everyone, Chuck here. I appreciate you stopping by the channel. It's another beautiful day here as I'm sitting out here on the deck again. And I was just thinking it's the perfect time to share something with you that's been on my heart. A story about footsteps, legacy, and the path we leave for those coming after us. My pastor tells this story of when his youngest daughter, when she was a little girl, she was out playing in the churchyard one day. And after a while, he went out to look for her, but he didn't find her out in the yard. He decided to walk over and look into the church. And as he looked in, he found her there. She was in the sanctuary, standing on a chair behind the pulpit. With her arm outstretched over the top of the pulpit, she was pointing toward the area of the congregation. She was imitating her dad's preaching. He tells this story because it's a great illustration showing us our kids are watching us. Now, back when I was a little boy, I used to follow my dad out to the fields after he plowed the ground. He'd walk across that freshly turned soil, leaving those big, deep footprints behind. Now, I would try to stretch my little legs as far as I could, trying to match his steps. I wanted to walk right in those footprints that he had just made. I wasn't just trying to match his feet, though. I was following his lead, learning how to be a man, how to work hard, how to carry myself with integrity. You see, those footprints weren't just marks there in the dirt. They were also made in my heart and in my mind. They were lessons in how to live, how to work, how to be a man that stands by his word. And now, as dads, as granddads, as uncles, as big brothers, that's our role. We're setting the example, whether we know it or not. The way we talk, the choices we make, the things we do every day, those leave impressions on our kids, our grandkids, and on the ones who are watching us. And believe me, they're watching. You know, the Bible spells this out real clear in Deuteronomy. It says, "These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you're sitting at home. Talk about them when you're walking along the road, when you lie down, and talk about them when you get up." In other words, it's our duty to not just tell the next generation how to live. We've got to show them how to live. We've all heard it before, but it's true. Actions speak louder than words. You know, my pastor has this saying, "Your talk walks and your walk talks, but your walk talks further than your talk walks." In other words, your actions do speak louder than words. You can tell your kids to be honest and follow the Lord, but if your actions don't back it up, it's just noise. When I was growing up, my dad didn't have to give me long talks about the value of hard work. I watched him do it every day, rain or shine. He was out there putting in the work, and I learned from that. I didn't need a speech. I had his example. Just like my dad's footprints in the field, our lives leave marks as well. And trust me, someone's always watching where you step. Our kids, our grandkids, they're picking up on how we treat people, how we deal with tough times, and how we handle our responsibilities. The big question is, are we leaving a path that's worth following? Are we living lives that show faith, kindness, and hard work? Whether we know it or not, we're always teaching. Everything we do leaves a message, even when we don't intend to. If we're quick to lose our temper, if we cut corners, if we're not honest, that's the lessons they'll remember. But if we're patient, if we treat others with love and grace, those are the lessons that will stick with them for a lifetime. The Bible tells us to live our faith every day, you know, in the big things, but also in the small, quiet moments. It's not something you pull out once in a while. It's a way of life. We need to show them what that looks like, not just by telling them how to pray, but by letting them see us pray. Not just talking about doing good, but actually doing it. And let's not forget these simple values of kindness and humility and gratitude. You know, it's easy to overlook them in today's fast-paced world, but those are the bedrocks of strong men and women. If we want our kids to grow up with those values, we've got to use them in our lives day in and day out. Just like my dad left those big footprints in the dirt for me to follow, we're leaving our own trail. It's either going to lead others toward these values, or it's going to lead them away. We've got to be mindful of the paths we're setting, because those little feet behind us, they're following. They're trying to match our steps. Now, I'm not saying we've got to be perfect. None of us are. But we do need to be intentional. In Titus it says, "In everything set them an example by doing what is good." In your teaching, show integrity, seriousness, and soundness of speech. That means living with integrity, being faithful, even when no one else is looking. Think about it. If we're always losing our temper or being dishonest, we're telling our kids that's okay. But if we walk with integrity, if we're honest, and we ask God for wisdom in how we live, we're laying down footsteps they can follow. And those steps won't just guide them, they'll guide their children and their children's children. It's a legacy, folks. When you start realizing that the choices you make today are shaping the future of your kids and grandkids and others that you may influence, it will change the way you live. You start thinking, am I leaving footsteps that lead to strength, to faith, and to kindness? Am I showing them how to live a life that honors God? Because that's really the heart of it. It's not about fame or money or success. It's about showing the next generation how to walk in God's ways. It's about living with humility, admitting when we're wrong, and asking forgiveness and loving others the way Christ loved us. That's the kind of life worth following. So, ask yourself, what kind of footsteps am I leaving? Because someone's following. They're watching you. Let's make sure the steps we leave lead to something that matters, something that lasts, steps that lead them straight to the Lord. I do appreciate y'all joining me today. I hope this gets you thinking about the steps you are leaving. I pray that your steps be guided by wisdom, by God's wisdom, and may you leave behind a legacy that points to Him. Until next time.